Welcome, everyone. I am Captain Foley, and as always, I am joined by my trusty aide and partner in crime, Commander Cockings. Today, we are going to bring another person into the Trekyards family, someone who has had to cross an interdimensional plane, so to speak, to beat her today.
Well, Stu, he is from America, but I think you're making a Kelvin timeline / JJ universe reference. Yes, well, here we have the man behind so much fantastic designs that we saw in the third film in the rebooted universe, Star Trek Beyond. It's my pleasure to welcome Sean Hargreaves to the show. Welcome, Sean.
Hi, guys. I'm happy to be on the show. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
First of all, if you guys haven't seen Beyond yet, you should. It's a fitting tribute to the 50th anniversary of Star Trek and just a fun film overall. Well done, Simon Pegg, for bringing Trek back to the big screen. But Sean, welcome. You've had a long career, and not just with Star Trek Beyond, obviously. So talk to us about how you first got started and what projects you have worked on, including both movies and TV.
Well, I moved from England to America when I was 13 in 1978, and then I moved. My parents moved to Texas, where my dad's company was based, and I moved to Los Angeles to go to the Art Center College of Design, where I studied industrial design with an emphasis on car design. And after I graduated with a science degree, I went to work at General Motors designing advanced cars, concept cars. And after 3 years, I had a friend that was working on Terminator 2 with James Cameron, and I thought, well, he's having fun. And I'm a bit tired of drawing cars after 3 years, even though they're cool-looking cars. You know what I mean? So he helped me get into doing storyboards for commercials, and I just gradually worked my way up from storyboards to set designs, and then getting into films and working on a lot of films in the 90s, such as a few Batman films, Jurassic Park 2. Heat with Michael Mann and Al Pacino and Robert De Niro, and so some contemporary stuff. The Rock was another one, and some more fantasy stuff. And then in the late 90s, I got hired at George Lucas's Industrial Light and Magic to be a production designer on some huge commercials over there and some other stuff as well. And so I really got into the effects world through his company. And then for 16 years, I basically was a production designer for commercials and music videos. And I just recently just kind of got tired of that and realized that designing for that wasn't giving me what I wanted. So I decided to come back. And a friend of mine, Tim Flattery, who is he's pretty famous concept designer himself, couldn't do Star Trek Beyond, and he said, "Hey, Tom Sanders, the production designer, is looking for someone." And I said, "Oh boy, I'm going to have a go." And I talked to Tom, and he brought me on, and it was just fantastic and such a surprise to come back after being out for a while to be involved in such a great franchise and such a huge film on something that I really, really enjoyed and been given such a huge responsibility. And as you see on the film, and as you'll see in the next few weeks when I release some of my renders, how much responsibility I had on the film with all the Federation work.
Cool. Well, that's an amazing career. I mean, I'm a massive ILM fan, so you've made my jaw drop. So that is incredible. But let's go straight into Beyond, as we sort of did there. So what was your official title on Beyond? What does that actually mean? And how did you actually end up designing so many of the amazing things we saw in that film?
Well, I was hired as the visual effects art director.
Wow.
But because I do concept design, I also did a lot of heavy lifting with regards to the looks of, the Game of the Federation stuff. And Tom and some of the other designers did the alien worlds. And I initiated a lot of the overall designs, and then some other designers worked on, little details here and there and establishing certain things. But, the main design work for the Federation stuff was through me. And I was basically a liaison, being the visual effects art director, between the art department and the visual effects company, the main one being DNEG, located in London, and through the visual effects supervisor, whose name is Peter Chang, and he's fantastic, and DNEG is a great company. And so I basically would because I work in, I wear a lot of different hats. I can sketch, but I also do 3D. So I basically built my 3D models, handed them off to the effects company, and there was no translation. It was exactly what they needed. I didn't have to explain things, and they had the model in hand, and what they did was they enhanced it. They textured it, they detailed it out with all the greebles, as we call them, with little details, and brought it to life, all of the stuff to life, and it was a great relationship with them, and it worked out really good. Seeing what I saw on the film, I'm going to see the film today actually at 1:00, so I'm excited at IMAX. So.
Is that the first time you've seen it? I'm assuming.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing it with a bunch of British lads that are over here working on the film with me. So we're all going to go and have a laugh.
So do I take that you designed the Yorktown, the Franklin, and then the new JJ Prize, the entire federation, sort of what we see in the film?
New JJ Prize.
Well.
It would be the Lynn Prize, I think. But
I like that. That's correct. The Franklin Town and the new Enterprise. Yeah.
That's amazing. Cool. Yeah. So I guess my next question is: were you a Star Trek fan before all this happened? And what Star Trek had you seen? What is your favorite? And what are your thoughts on Star Trek overall?
Well, I've seen. I love the original series. I'm of that generation. I'm 50 now, and I grew up in England watching that. I had a model of the Enterprise, and I was obsessed with that thing. And I loved I just loved everything about the original series. I loved, and it was all done on a budget relative to TV at the time. And the writing was all written around that, and because of that, it had a unique look. And I really appreciate that. Having been a production designer, I understand that kind of budgetary constraint, which can provide you with some pretty great results. It's not always about a lot of money. A little money can really give you some interesting results. So I like the the original series. I can't name the actual names of the series. I think Metamorphosis was one where I really liked that one. I like a lot of them. I used to like the Tribbles, but I'm not really into them anymore. But I like the more intelligent ones. And in 1979 I saw the motion picture, and I really loved that. A lot of people thought it was slow, but I was a kid, and I actually really enjoyed it, and I really loved that Enterprise. And as I've told others, the problem I had with that Enterprise, which was a beautiful ship, was they took away the spinning nacelles, and it just killed me, that, because I just felt, when you're designing for film and you're designing for TV, it's about guiding the viewer's attention, and it's about cinema. And there's a point where you have to throw a percentage of fantasy in there to hold the viewer's attention. And when you remove that part of fantasy, it becomes a little dead. And I felt, even as a kid, I felt that those engines were dead. They'd lost the life, and because they weren't simply because they weren't spinning. And those things were beautiful in the 60s. And I kept that in strong mind when I did these designs. I was actually happy on JJ's first Enterprise that they brought those nacelles back. I had issues with the engines.
They had dual spinnies, not just one. They had dual.
Yeah,
turbines.
Exactly. And they gave me, when I worked on Beyond, I said to ILM, can we need a model of a CG model of the Enterprise. They gave us the one that they used, which was something like 75 million polygons. And it was gigantic. But the first thing I did was go right into the nacelle to see what was actually going on in there. And it's crazy. They've got things going this way, things going that way. They look like saw blades. There's a lot of stuff, lights flashing on and on. It's very, very complicated and beautiful.
That's cool.
And anyway, so that was that. So I like the original series. I like the motion picture. I like the Wrath of Khan. I think the Wrath of Khan soundtrack is just fantastic.
Yeah.
And I listened to a lot of that stuff when I was working on. I watched a lot of the original series. I listened to a lot of the soundtracks when I was working on Beyond, because you have to get into that world, you know, and you have to live that world and be like you're living in that world, like you are the designer of that world. Be that person. And as a concept designer, it's really important. You can get very affected by the wrong world that your mind is in. So you go into what we call the creative bubble, and don't let anyone penetrate that creative bubble, because you're concentrating on designing this stuff, and you come out the other end. And I'm just really, really happy that it seems to have been embraced by a lot of people, the looks of the film, and I'm really happy for that.
I gotta jump in there saying, just by that, just this small conversation we've had, I'm so excited to get you on the full episode to talk about these ships, because you obviously put, you have a great mentality. But the last question on this script is...
I gotta say one more thing. You're talking about listening to music while you design. Well, Samuel and myself both listen to Star Trek soundtracks while we're either writing or editing or whatever. So yeah, I understand getting into that mindset. It works 100%.
Yeah, it really does.
Yeah. When I was doing my NSCA Protector trailer, theme kept playing, and I kept feeling it, and it zooms by, and it's beautiful. Anyway, last question. What was it like seeing the final version of your design, either on screen or in production, of the Franklin, say, or Starbase? And is there a single highlight moment on the entire production for you?
Well, I'm like a kid, like any of us, when we're watching this stuff, and we see these ships, like, oh God, I designed that thing. There it is on the TV. It never gets old. And I went on YouTube and paused it and looked at it. Did they change it? Is everything like I gave it to them? There was a few little things, nibbly things here and there that were changed. But for the most part, the stuff stayed the same, and I was pretty overjoyed by it. The highlight of working on the film was basically working on the film. I mean, that was a gift in itself, and I have to say personally, standing on the bridge behind the captain's chair and looking to my left and there's Spock, and looking to my right and there's Kirk, and then there's Sulu and Uhura, that was something else. When I was standing on the set and they were filming, and I just walked on the set to look at something, and I was in the crew. That was pretty great, having just seen that stuff on the big screen, and just then you're walking in there and being a part of it. And that bridge, by the way, is pretty small. The JJ Bridge. It's an ellipse, and because the lenses, they use wide lenses, it enlarges it enlarges any space you're in, and a lot smaller than you think.
Wow. So how many days were you actually on set, and got to hang around and play on the set?
Well, we could walk on set anytime we wanted to look and check out some of the stuff. I mean, I was on the film for almost 7 months up in Vancouver, and you could just walk on there and check, when you're in amongst, when you're filming any film, you become you hear this a lot, of family. I mean, a lot of the people on set from a family, because they know. I mean, I don't know a lot of the people actually on the set, because I'm in the art department a lot, but it does become a tight-knit family. That they've got a job to do. At the end of the day, it's like baking bread. You've got customers, you got a job to do. Bake the bread, get the bread done, get it out by 7 o'clock, because the customers are coming in at 7. So it's even though we're on a massive enterprise, it's still the same kind of thing. And it was great. I mean, some of the stuff that I saw, some of the effects work, the gimbals were gigantic. I know how JJ did his effects work, which is the poor man's process, which is lean the camera. It's the old school way, and people, rolling down the hallway, which was cool in a way. But nothing is realer than real. And they built these gigantic gimbals and these set pieces and corridors, and just rolled them around. And also when the swarm ships attack, they had a few swarm ships on these rails that just shot them forward into the side of the corridor. I mean,
oh wow!
Those in the scene that you see in the film, it's not much faster than it actually was. I mean, they went so fast. I could not even believe it. And it just, in normal speed, it just destroyed, what it went through, and pretty amazing stuff. They really tried to get, Justin Lin, that guy's he's hands-on, and he knows what works and what doesn't work filming wise, and he likes to shoot as much in camera. We call it in camera, meaning that what you see is what you see as possible. If he can't shoot it in camera, then obviously it'll be an effect, but he tries really, really, really hard to get it right there, and that's how I think filmmaking should be. And post effects on the set should be just an icing on the cake.
Mm-hmm. Couldn't agree more. But sounds like we have more to talk to you about. A separate interview, but let's cut this. Let's end this. So thank you so much, Sean, for joining us. So many episodes in the pipeline, so I'm sure we'll see you again.
All right, absolutely. And I know we are both very excited. We had an absolute blast dissecting the Franklin from the very first image we saw as a precursor to the film. And now we are going to be talking to you and really hearing all the stories behind each of your favorite JJ-verse or Kelvin timeline ships. It's going to be fun. So thanks again, Sean, for joining us. And we will see you guys very soon. Bye, everybody.